Hello, it is I, Professor Fenn, obviously, and I am just here to give you a quick tutorial on how to go through about entering your data into SPSS. So I opened up my SPSS data file, I clicked on Enter New Data, and now I am here, ready to enter my new data. The first thing I did was I looked at my class data collection project instructions, which is posted on Moodle, and I looked under step 3 where it told me how to set up my data entry file. And from here, I entered each of the variables' names. So I entered prof name, instruction, I just typed these in, TK class, impress, claim, major, year, student gen, and pron. In terms of type of variable, this is telling SPSS what type of values you're going to be entering in the actual data view over here. For all of them except for 2, we have numeric, which is fine because we're going to be entering numbers. However, for the impress, which is our open-ended question, we're going to make that a string variable because people are going to be writing their answers, and we are going to type their responses. So we change this to string and we give it a larger width so that we can write more in that column. The other one that we want to change to string is major because this is also open-ended and we want to be able to type in what they put as their major, or if they're not in school, if they put NA or other or something like that. We can leave the width to 8 here because it's generally going to just be one word. Here is where I put in my label. In your data entry file, this is what's found to the right of the equal sign after the variable name. This is just when you actually go to run your data analysis, it's helpful to have these labels because they will be spit out into your output so you can see what variable you're actually looking at. It's a little bit more informative to you. Also, if you come back to this data file in a year or something, you'll know what the heck these variable names mean. For example, TK class is kind of a vague variable name, but by having willingness to take class, it gives you a little bit more information. For each of these variables, we may want to enter values over here. And we're not going to do that for all of them, but we're going to do that for 4 of them. So for professor name, we're going to click on the cell and then click on this little button right here. And this takes us to the value labels screen. This is where I enter my value labels. So if I wanted Adrian, I would enter 1, and then I would type in Adrian, and I would click, since I've already done it, it's not letting me, but then I would click add here. Since it's already in there, I don't need to do that. And I would do the same thing here. So for sake of showing you, let me just remove these and add them in. So I have 1, Adrian, and then I click add, and then I have 2, Yevgeny, and I click add. Then I'm done and I click OK. I do the same thing for my instructions variable. This is what it should look like. And I do the same thing for year in school. And I do the same thing for gender. The next thing that you're going to want to change is the measure. This is telling you the type. This is telling SPSS and yourself the type of measurement that you're looking at. Nominal is, if you remember from class, a named variable. So nominal is just telling you the name. So for example, professor name, is it Adrian or Yevgeny? Same thing for instruction. Scale variable is numeric, and it's giving you actual numerical information about the quantitative variable. And then we're moving down, and the only other new one added here is ordinal, and that's an ordered variable, a ranking variable. And you see we're using that for year in school because year in school is an actual ranking. A person that is a 1 on this scale is ranked above in terms of year in school than the person behind them. So it does give us some information about the relationship between the numbers itself. There you go. We've got our data file set up. Then the next step, I'm so sorry, is to go actually into data view, which I click down here, and I'm going to enter my participant responses. Each row represents 1 participant. So you each should have a data file that has 8 rows because you're going to collect data from 8 people. I've already collected 1. These values map onto my different experimental conditions. I can refer back to variable view to remind myself what I named these values as. So 1 is Adrian, 2 was Yevgeny, 1 was quick, and 2 was careful. Okay. So what does this tell me? This means that this first person was assigned to Form A because they had Adrian, the easy name, and they had the careful instructions. Let's say that my next person had the easy to pronounce name and also had the quick instructions. And let's say that that person on the first question, which was their first question, which is willingness to take class, gave me a response of a 4. The next person said, I don't like Adrian at all. That was their impression. In terms of the claim, they didn't believe the claim very much, so they gave me a 2. And in terms of major, they said other, and year, they also put other. Student gender, they were a female. And in terms of how easy was it to pronounce, it was very easy, so they gave me a 1, or whatever their value was. I've just entered a value of one person. I have 7 responses from each person, so you can double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The first 2 values are your identifying information for which condition they are in, and then you would move on and enter data from your next participant. And that, my friends, is how you enter data into SPSS.